Jonah had almost let it go. The call, the report. He'd almost let it go. He asked himself later what difference it would have made if he had. This was what you did when you were tying up a case. You looked for mistakes, and for their opposite, for the good things you'd done. You asked yourself how they had affected the investigation, and in this case the biggest question mark was over the report of a murder that he almost let slide. He questioned whether things would have gone differently if he'd acted earlier, and how different they would have been if he had never acted at all. It was possible that neither scenario would have changed anything, that events would have gone on implacably to their conclusion, but it was also possible that everything would have changed. The report made itself known during the tail end of a tortuous Friday morning caseload meeting, made decidedly worse by Detective Chief Superintendent Wilkinson being away. Without him to push everything through, the meeting had descended into rambling discussions on every detail. It was soul-destroyingly boring. But then they had finally limped through to new case allocation, and Jonah had watched his intense counterpart in the uniformed police, Yvonne Hearden, take on 3 thefts and a road traffic accident. "We've had an unauthenticated murder claim passed on by the crime desk," Hearden said next. "I've given you a transcript," she added to Jonah, "but I think it's unlikely to come to anything, so we're happy to take it. The caller claims that his girlfriend was murdered while he was talking to her on Skype, but that he didn't see the killer. He hung up when asked for his name and details. Crime desk tried to look her up, but found no trace of a woman with that name anywhere online." Jonah skimmed over the transcript, noting that the girl's name was Zoe Swarderdine. My girlfriend's been murdered," he read. Hearden was probably right. This would, in all likelihood, involve admin of a simple kind, cross-checking with missing persons, trying a few variations of the spelling. "Okay?" Hearden asked as he read on. There was something in the phrasing used in the call that made Jonah hesitate, something that unsettled him. He was aware that Hearden was waiting for an answer, however, and he trusted her and her team to do this right. His own team was neck-deep in a complex blackmailing case and had little time for unnecessary extras. "Sure," he said. "Keep me posted if it comes to anything." The meeting moved on to cover another multi-casualty road traffic accident that had probably been caused by an HGV driver using his phone. Jonah was glad he didn't have to be involved. Those were the kinds of cases that scarred you, the kind that made you impulsively check up on all your loved ones, the kind that made life seem flimsy and the world a random, uncaring place. With those thoughts foremost in his mind, his uneasiness about the strange, anonymous murder report was pushed aside. There was so much Aidan should have been doing. 3 of his students had sent essays over, and he had a whole raft of faculty admin, but he hadn't managed to read a line. He'd opened email after email, but failed to understand them past the pounding of his heart and the ringing in his ears. He wasn't seeing words. He was seeing the slow opening and closing of a door, played over and over. The not knowing was the worst. He would loop through a conviction that it had all been some strange misunderstanding, or a dream, and then he would remember that Zoe had never reappeared from the bathroom, not while he'd been watching. He knew in his soul that she had been in desperate need of help, and that she might never have received it. He'd searched news and social media sites the moment he was up, looking for any mention of an incident. He'd rechecked at regular intervals since, too, but there was no mention of any murder or violence in Southampton. Nothing about a young woman being attacked. A total void of anything relevant. There was a way to find out, if he felt he could take it, of course. He could call the police again. This time, when they asked him for a name and address, he could give it to them.